Emerging Leaders. We will have another speaker tomorrow on Tuesday, and then our last speaker will be on Wednesday. We wanted to go through some housekeeping rules with you now that we're on Zoom. So the meeting is being recorded. Everyone is muted, so if you could remain muted, that would be great. If you have any questions, please wait until after our presenter has spoke, and then you could go ahead and in the chat box, which you should see the chat box on the bottom, then you could go ahead and type in your questions, and we will try to get to everybody's questions as soon as we can. Also on the bottom is a little react icon. I don't know if you can see that, but it's the heart at the bottom. If you can see that, if you could go ahead and let us know you're here and give us a thumbs up or a clapping of hands or a heart or whatever you like. We want to know that you were there, you are here, you are present, and we thank you for that. So welcome again, scholars. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Accounting, Finance, and Management Business Club. Our president is Catherine Tan. Catherine, are you on? I don't know if you zoomed in yet or not. If you have, then you could go ahead and unmute yourself. The Accounting, Finance, and Management Club is really a good club on campus. I think there's around 50 different clubs on campus. And it's good because it helps you to network. It's really geared on professional growth. And we also will bring in different guest speakers. We'll talk specifically about business and accounting. And so it can't hurt, it could only help you. And it's great to be able to put on your application if you're ever going to apply for any positions. That this is something that you could put on your application. You could add to your resume. And it's just really a good club to be involved with. They are doing hybrid meetings. So if you can't come on campus, you could Zoom in with us. The meetings are every Thursday from 4:30 to 5:30. And it's great to network because we have so many resources and there's so many students on campus that sometimes it's hard for us to socialize because there's just so many different things to do. But we invite you. This is really great, and it's geared towards your professional development. So if you would like to be part of it or Zoom in and just check it out, here is the QR code. So feel free to go to the QR code. And again, we meet every Thursday hybrid on campus in room 793290 from 4:30 to 5:30 and on Zoom. So the meetings have started and they are weekly. So we invite you to come and talk to your peers, and look, there's always some really good takeaways. So please, be sure to try to Zoom in or to come on campus. The next slide is our Alpha Gamma Sigma Honor Club. Is Kayla Salazar or Calvin Ong on yet? Okay, so Calvin is here, and Calvin is going to talk to you about the AGS Honor Club.
Hi everyone. I'm the president of AGS, and here is.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayla and I'm the secretary of AGS.
We thank you very much for this section where we can pretty much share a word about our club. So to introduce what our club does, we're one of the two honors club in Mountstack other than PTK. PTK is a countrywide club, while international club, while AGS is a statewide club.
So in order to join AGS, you do not need to be in the honors program, and we try to provide the same opportunities as PTK. So scholarships, volunteer service opportunities, as well as motivating you to become a better student and have an overall good GPA.
And we also do volunteering events. We often go on volunteering field trips, which are very fun. We bring along everyone. And then last time we went to Newport to pick up trash on the beach, all sorts of things. And we also do general meetings where we share student success tips. And you only need 12 hours of service hours to become an official member at the end of the semester. And it gets renewed every year, so you need 12 hours for each year. Sorry, every semester. And when you graduate as an official member, you will get recognized as a AGS honor student. And I'll show you an example of how it looks like. Give me a second. So if you can see on my screen, this is an example. Oh, I think it's inverted. Give me a second. So this is Kayla's transcript, and the asterisk and plus sign on the right, it recognizes her as honors program, and then the plus is PTK, and then right here this arrow symbol, that's for Alpha Gamma Sigma AGS Club. And here's your president from last semester, Jaden. You also get a certificate like this, and you also get sashes with AGS logo when you graduate. Right now we have an election coming up, and here's the election flyer, and you can take a picture of it. I'm also going to send in the chat. So right now we have vacant positions for ICC, publicity officer, membership officer, and treasurer. So if you're interested in our club, or if you're interested in running as a AGS officer, then you can save that picture, and you have all the QR codes on there.
So during graduation, I actually just graduated and I was recognized for being an Alpha Gamma Sigma. So being an Alpha Gamma Sigma, you're recognized not only nationwide, but you're also recognized on your transcript or the flyer that they give you when you graduate.
Exactly what Kayla said. You know, our elections are coming up this Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. So the application deadline is Wednesday at midnight. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, Kelvin and Kayla. So again, AGS is a state chartered honor club. And so with all the students out there, is anybody thinking about transferring to college? Like, can you give us like a reaction or a thumbs up? Like if you're thinking about transferring to a 4-year university? And maybe you're not sure like where you're going to go yet, because you're probably going to get a lot of like, admission letters. But you know, if you're thinking about transferring, this is great. This is like Kelvin said, this is one of the 2 honor clubs that are recognized by Mount SAC, and you're recognized when you graduate. And it could give you some leverage as you're applying to transfer. So think about joining it. It's a great group of people and students, and it's great to also to build up your network and for professional development. So we invite you to think about being an officer too. There's 2 officer positions, and you're never alone. We always help each other, and it's great, you know, to try it. Sometimes you might feel like it's too risky or you're not sure, but you know, those are going to be the greatest things that you end up accomplishing, the ones that you're probably a little bit more hesitant on. So, you know, try it out. We'd love to have you at least join as a member. Thank you. Next slide. And I wanted to introduce myself and Mr. Doctor. So I'm Mrs. Martinez. I'm the co-chair of the Accounting and Management Department. So I handle the management side of the department, which is 27 different degrees and certificates, like in marketing, small business management, supply chain, social media. It just goes on and on. So if you ever have any questions about your business program, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you. If anything, I will tell you where you need to go to get further assistance. we are here to root you on and to support you. So there's a lot of support here at Mount SAC. And my co-host for today is Mr. Derek Doctor. So Mr. Doctor, maybe it looks like you wave for us. Would you like to say hello?
Good day, students. Thanks for making the time for the Emerging Leaders. We're so glad to have you here.
So Mr. Doctor heads up our supply chain management program. So if you have any questions regarding logistics, supply chain, business relations, business management, he heads up those disciplines. So he would be the person, a great person to contact. And like I said earlier, we're more than happy to help you and to guide you, to support you in any way that you need help here at Mount SAC. Also, another full-time faculty member that we have in the management side of the department is Laura Tracy. She's great, and she heads up our marketing program. So if you have any questions regarding the marketing degree, the marketing certificate, or the social media marketing certificate, you could always reach out to her or any of us here. So again, we're here to help you and support you.
Couldn't said it better.
Next slide. Okay, so I will hand this off to Mr. Doctor, and he's going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker for today.
Yes, thank you, students. Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. We are going to be having our Emerging Leaders series this week. It's a business series from students to students, and we're looking forward for each person being here and what we can gain of value. Our guest today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about him, is Daniel, and he is going to be speaking on behalf of Cal State Fullerton. And at Cal State Fullerton, we have the Association for Operations and Supply Chain Management. He's actually the Vice President of Finance. I sit on the board at the advisory there, and he's been a student that's not only engaged, but really cares about others. And we just see he has tenacity for others and being a part of the community and growing. The website is here located on the screen, and today he's going to be talking about leadership and what his roles are in terms of leadership and where it's going. And I want us all to think about it as students. Where am I? Am I in a leadership role? How do I make a leadership role if I ever want to be the CEO of my company or basically the CEO of another corporation? What are the steps and how can I get there? And what are some leadership traits that I can find in myself to grow? And so that's what we're doing here, and that's our basis. So let's give a virtual welcome to Daniel. Go ahead, Daniel.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to be speaking today for everybody. Once again, good afternoon. My name is Daniel. My last name is pronounced Zubtsov, Daniel Zubtsov. I saw Derek had a little bit of trouble saying it, so I'd like to reiterate that. But yeah, so thank you everybody for being here. On top of that, I want to thank Professor Doctor and Professor Martinez for allowing me to speak to you today about just kind of my leadership journey and where I see leadership going as a whole. And yeah, so if we could just switch slides. So today, actually, if it would be better, could you show the first slide? In the bottom right is the actual website for AOSCM. It's csuf.aoscm.com. If you're interested in Association of Operations Supply Chain Management Fullerton, I very much recommend looking at the website because all of our information is on there, everything regarding our events, how easy it is to join, and what our goal is. But I'll go into more detail about that later, actually. So for really quickly, I'll give a little table of contents in the next slide. So I'll start off today with a little personal introduction, kind of give my leadership history as well to show what, I guess, credentials I have to be speaking on this matter. I'll talk about AOSCM as a club and my experience within it. I'll also be talking about how to start a leadership journey, since for a lot of people that is like the main point, getting it started. And then I'll also talk about finding a balance, very important in your day-to-day life, as well as leadership and leadership skills that I feel are important to be a proper leader in today's society. And then the future trends of leadership. Where are we going as leaders in our society? And then we'll just go with a quick conclusion, actually. So yeah, next slide, please. So a little bit about myself, just to give everybody an idea.
My name is Daniel Vizutov. I was actually born in the United States to Russian immigrant parents. I am considered a first-gen student since my parents did not go to college here in the US. And from a young age, I guess I could say I was drawn to leadership and responsibility, from sports like soccer to extracurriculars like Boy Scouts. I'm actually very local. I live in West Covina. I grew up in Diamond Bar, so I attended Diamond Bar High School. And right after Diamond Bar High School, I actually enrolled at Cal State Fullerton to pursue dual degrees in Operations Supply Chain Management and Finance, which is something I could be very happy to discuss later if anyone is interested about dual majors. A few little hobbies of mine in sports is I used to do fencing. I tried to go competitive, but couldn't do it. I was a classical violinist for almost 11 years. I enjoy gaming. I'm a bit of a nerd. And I enjoy art, specifically Renaissance, Baroque, and Neoclassicism like era art. So next slide, please. So a little bit about my leadership history. My very first leadership positions were held in the Boy Scouts of America. I'm going to be very prevalently speaking about the Boy Scouts of America just because they were a very big factor for giving me the opportunity to, I guess, jump into the life of leadership. So I held positions like the senior patrol leader, which for reference is the position of like managing the entire troop, like the president essentially of the troop. And then I was also the assistant senior patrol leader, which is like the VPs, and quartermaster, which is basically a person in charge of all of the inventory management, which very much falls into my major of operations supply chain management. So after that, I held a few roles like in the symphony orchestra at my school, where I was a section leader, primarily because I like to quote this, the conductor of my orchestra said that because of my experience in the Boy Scouts, she felt that the students needed a role model, specifically that knew what was going on and kind of had an idea of how to reach people, which is something I'll go a little bit over later. But anyways, so then on the AOSCM executive board, I actually joined the executive board in my second year. I was an executive assistant under one of our most prolific presidents, and he taught me everything, almost everything I know today. I was also the VP of communications, so a lot of emails and managing a team of people. And I'm currently the VP of finance. So yeah, that's a little bit about my leadership history. And now I'm going to go more into about my history in the Boy Scouts of America and how it shaped me. So if we could just switch the slide over to that next slide. Okay, so a big part of the Boy Scouts of America was the tenets of the Scout Oath, law, code, and slogan. These are 4 tenets that I actually still live by to this day, and I actually base my entire leadership approach around these tenets. Essentially, when I was a senior patrol leader, I had to individually coordinate over at least like 6 camping travel events. It was pretty much your standard run-of-the-mill procedures, but I was doing this at, I think I was 12 or 13 years old. So it was a challenge because I technically had to grow up really fast to understand what I was putting myself into. And I had a lot of adult leaders that were teaching me what to do. But when it comes to actual supply chain and operations management, my role as a quartermaster helped me understand that this was kind of what I'm meant to do, because I was cycling the inventory of the troop. I was managing the tent inventories. I worked with a tent manager to work with the SPL to ensure that all of our events went planned. I was basically a pseudo event coordinator, right? And because of this experience in the Boy Scouts, I was able to grow myself as a leader and gain the knowledge and experience that I had before going into college. And I'll go a little bit over about AOSCM right now and how my experience shaped me in AOSCM. And the next slide, yeah. So for community college students, a lot of our transfer students and a lot of our members currently this semester are actually community college students who wanted to dive into what operations supply chain management is, because it's a very niche major. Not a lot of people know about it, which is why we as the student-led organization at CSUF Fullerton focused on teaching students what does it mean to be an operations and supply chain management student. So our mission is to empower students through professional development, industry engagement, and academic growth. Basically, what this means is we want professionals from the industry to have an insight at a very select pool of students that were interested in supply chain, and basically give these companies the idea that we are more than students, we are also emerging leaders, right? Working professionals. We want to make sure that students are ready for the professional world. We build resumes, we build LinkedIns, we make sure that whenever we have companies come out with interviews, we reach out to each other and let them know what to know for the actual interviews to get the position. We're basically on campus known as the internship club. We kind of not guarantee, but we pretty much push our students for internships, where I think the number is, as of this semester, 65% of our students get internships at big name companies. So it's part of our vision to be the premier supply chain club at Fullerton. We want to foster a strong community of future leaders that will benefit the workforce and basically put us on the map, I guess, when it comes to supply chain schools. Because when most people think of supply chain schools, they think of ASU and University of Maryland, and it's just, we want to be up there with the greats, you know. So we endorse people to join our association so that we could bolster you as well and just work as a team. We're all in the same boat. Yeah. So I'm gonna now pivot a little bit more into the leadership journey, kind of what this is all about, right? So the first part is timeless principles. When it comes to being a leader, a lot of things that we need to realize is that leadership has always been about people, right? Great leaders don't just manage, they connect. So when they present, they listen, they empower, and they inspire. So when I say timeless principles, we have to think about like ancient military leaders or civil rights leaders, or even community leaders that you may know personally today. The common thread isn't that they had tools to help them or that the specific era. It was their ability to connect authentically. So even in our fast-paced digital world where everybody's on a screen sometimes, the principle hasn't changed. It's more important than ever, actually, because now a text message or a Zoom call might get the job done, but it doesn't replace the impact of actually sitting down with your team and or even with somebody as a person and reading their emotions and building that real trust, which is why leadership is timeless as a timeless principle, but it also demands presence. I kind of covered personal engagement there as well, because you have to engage the people that are in your team. You have to lead by example, and you have to make sure that people are following your example because it grows them as people as well. Another thing too is the distinction between leadership and management. So management can be efficient, right? It's about instructing somebody what to do or directing them in the right place. You know, look in this Excel sheet or look in this document, right? But it's all about asking why and instead of what. It's about empowering somebody instead of just actually teaching them something. So leadership goes beyond this. Leadership is about listening to what the person wants. It's about empowering them to grow rather than just telling them what to do. Because once you can understand that anyone can manage a task, you can understand that it takes a leader to inspire somebody to grow their own path, essentially, to trust them enough to make mistakes, because we're human. Humans make mistakes, right? But we have to, as leaders, have to encourage them to learn from those mistakes. So in short, management organizes while leadership transforms, which is where that whole distinction comes from. So another thing too is building your own leadership style, essentially. It's part of finding your unique voice. You have to understand that part of the leadership is, and I'm going to cover the one next to it, is don't reinvent the wheel, right? This is something I learned from my old president, Nathan Adelman. He taught me this. He said that you don't need to copy someone else's style and find something that resonates with you, right? You have to build your own way of leading so that others can see you as you and not as just like a clone of somebody else, right? It takes reflection. You have to feed your mind new ideas. You have to stay open. You have to nurture your passions, essentially. And you have to understand that the leadership style is authentic, not forced. People have to see you as you, and they have to understand that when you find your voice, they will follow you. And more importantly, they have to trust you on that matter. So it can be a really big leap of faith to become a successful leader, but it is necessary to know, I guess, who you are and where to go from there. Another possible or even necessary skill is knowing when to lead and when to follow. The ego is a big thing. You know, sometimes people think, oh, I have to be constantly leading. I have to be this, you know, standing stoic leader that has to manage everything, right? But another big part is knowing when to follow, because we're humans. We constantly evolve. And anytime, whether it's college, community college to a four-year college, whether it's a new career,
要补什
you
么嘛？
enter what is called the apprenticeship phase. This phase is all about learning, right? You have to realize that you're not expected to have all the answers. Even as leaders, some leaders, they don't have all the answers. They're in search of those answers. So the best thing you can do is follow. You have to watch, listen, absorb, and grow the people around you.
干嘛？
Then, when the timing is right, you can take that first step and start a
哦，
leadership
现在要分
journey.
颜色嘛？
So leadership isn't always about being up front. You're not always going to see one person leading the, you know, the charge, right? It's about knowing when to guide the people behind you and when to make that first step. So if we could just skip over to the next slide, I'm going to go into more detail about finding that balance.
哦，那就
I guess for a lot of
就很
people,
重
especially I've had friends that went to community college. I had family that went to community college too after myself. And they were asking me, well, how do you find that balance?
知道吧？
How can I work at the same time? How can I join clubs? How can I have a life? How can I go to school? How do all these things mesh together? Well, when it comes to work, right,
这个是
it
没有
has to be clear boundaries and priorities. You have to have time management tools, something that'll help you, I guess, maintain that control over your life. For example, I personally use an app on my phone that reminds me. It's like a reminder app, I think, that reminds me of when to do things. And I use it for everything, simple things as when I have to go buy something, or when I have a meeting, or when I have to send someone a text or an email or a message. You have to communicate your availability to everybody, right? Like, you have to be very communicative of what's going on in your life to your work specifically. And you have to show them that you are interested in not only working, but also existing as a human being, right? A big topic too is also the club, right? So sometimes you might think, oh, I have work on the weekend, or I have work during the week, I can't make it to a club meeting. Well, this is why you focus on quality rather than quantity. It's all about how much you interact, and not how much, I take that back, how well you interact with the people in clubs. You have to make sure that you speak with people and you make meaningful connections in the short amount of time that you have. Say, for example, you're a full-time worker, right? You want to go to a meeting, right? A club meeting, and you have to be able to pinpoint who is a meaningful connection and delegate in your mind, who do I think is the best reach out point for me, basically. You have to also align your club activities with personal and professional goals. So especially at Fullerton, it becomes more imperative that you join clubs that are meaningful to you. If you want to be a supply chain major, AOSM is perfect. If you want to be a finance major, we have a finance association. We have associations for everything, down to wealth management to data analytics. You have to make sure that when you're in a club with people, these people have a similar mindset to you, because that's kind of how you grow. And kind of how you find that footing. If you want to become a leader in the field, you have to see how people around you think, because those people are going to be in the same field as you. And you have to realize that eventually you guys are all going to be possibly leaders in the industry. Another thing too is life. All of this seems great. If I'm a workaholic. I've found myself dedicating about 90% of my life in the past to work. But as of recent, I've learned that I have to have a life too. So I need to live a little, right? I can't just dig my head in the ground and do work for my entire life. It's important that you schedule personal downtime, and especially companies that value their employees will have these kinds of days of downtime for you, because you need to maintain healthy habits. It's very important. I know this is something you've heard at the doctor's office: sleep, exercise, nutrition, right? I'm not going to say what the doctors have already told you, but it's very important that having a routine is, I guess, the most important part, because if you can have a routine, then it'll be able to give you that, I guess, structure in life to properly work, to properly be in a club, to take those leadership opportunities, and I guess to lead your own life as well. And stay connected with friends and family for support. Support is a very big part of being a leader. A lot of people, like I said earlier, think being a leader is all about stoicism and just being the front leader of everything. Well, you have to have support because it can be rough being a leader sometimes. Everything can be all over the place. Something might not work, something might work. And so it's important to know when you need that support, when you need to back up a little bit and just take a deep breath. And when it comes to school, I would recommend a structured schedule. I have friends, I know they told me that the situation for scheduling is a little rough at community colleges, but once you transfer to a full-time four-year college, it actually becomes a lot easier to structure your schedule to a certain basis. So I personally schedule my schedule to Tuesdays and Thursdays, so 2 days of the week, full days of learning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, open for anything I want. You have to utilize campus resources. A big part is that we have, for example, we have an advising center. The advising center tells you what classes to take to best reach your goals and to understand, I guess, what is needed of you and of them, because the school is there to help you, right? The school is a tool to help you get the knowledge you seek. And just aim for efficiency kind of falls underneath the whole structure part that I was talking about earlier. Well, I'll continue on to the next slide where I'll discuss about leadership skills. These are important because essentially we have to realize that there's levels to this, right? One of the most important parts that a lot of leaders, I guess, eventually come to lack and they need to know more is empathy and compassion. Understanding that your students we're all people. I've been pushing this idea for the entire presentation. We're all people, right? We need to be, as leaders, compassionate to the needs of others within our groups. Say, for example, you're a leader and somebody says, oh, I have, my family wants me to hang out with them this week, but I know we have this important deadline. What can I do? Can I push back the deadline? What do I do in this scenario? This is a situation where you have to show empathy and compassion towards that person. You have to tell them that they're okay with that, but that you also have to find that compromise, because being too nice can cause them to become very, not lenient, but laid back. They'll take advantage of your compassion. So it's knowing when to show empathy and when to show compassion and kind of just having that balance. Another thing too is delegation. One of the biggest things I learned from Boy Scouts was don't put everything on yourself. You are a leader, which means you have a group of people, but that doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. You have to learn to delegate. It can be as simple as something in like a school presentation, right? Like a group project. All of you want to, do your own thing, but one person has to stand up and delegate tasks. But most of the time, nobody does. They all sit there and think, it takes a while to figure out who's doing what in a certain presentation. So you have to learn to delegate who's best at what, understand the strengths of your team, and kind of know who can do a certain task to the best ability, essentially, which is kind of where that adaptability, I'm going to skip passion for now because I'm going to go to that, but adaptability, being kind of like a flex position, being able to adapt to all kinds of situations. A very big part of supply chain, for example, and operations management is that no day is the same. During my internship at Northrop, we had one day where we had, say, for example, certain NDAs to cover or certain deadlines. And then the next day something came up. Oh, the supplier can't do this. Oh, the supplier made a remark. They want us to change something. It's always being adaptable to your situation and kind of being able to shift yourself to different situations without changing your mindset, essentially. So this comes in pairs with critical thinking. People have told you this all the time. You have to expand your critical thinking, read more, understand how the world works. Yes, I cannot stress this enough. When it comes to leadership skills, critical thinking is one of the most important skills ever. You have to be able to, put the puzzle together. You have to be able to think. You have to be able to be in scenarios and piece things together, piece people together within your group, and be able to, I guess, create this web in your head of how do I solve this problem at hand and how do I use the resources that I have to solve said problem. It's very important that, especially as students, that we expand our critical thinking through books and reading as much as we can during our time, because people have lived lives before us, right? Everyone has lived a life before, and they have left it in writing. A lot of, I guess, information that we can find when it comes to leadership and critical thinking is by developing thoughts from people that have lived before. And so, yes, all the moving parts is the best way to put it. Moving parts. Everything is constantly shifting, which is why adaptability and critical thinking. I appreciate that comment, by the way, because yeah, that's important to mention, that nothing ever stands in place. Life is constantly flowing. Somebody might have a plan here, somebody might have something here. It's very important that we understand that life moves and we must move with it. You know, people say life is like a current, right? You either get swept away or you go with the current, right? So now I'm going to go to the last 4 leadership skills, 2 of which that I don't have on here: passion and vision. So you can be a leader, right? Or you can be a manager. This is kind of going into the topic of management versus leadership. You can be a manager and kind of follow standard operating procedures, right, that have existed before you, telling you how to do your job. But a leader has to have a vision. There has to be this light at the end of the tunnel that you are working towards. The best example is all the club presidents at ASCM at Cal State Fullerton. They all go into their position having a vision. What do we want from the club, right? What do we want for our people? Yes, leaders drive vision and purpose, because if the leaders have a vision and you're able to, I guess this comes also in part with being able to convince the people below you. I caught myself there, because the phrase below you is not correct. The best leader is one that is synonymous with a group, horizontally, not vertically. If you're able to share your vision with people who are just like you in the same horizontal field, rather than, oh, I'm going to tell this person to do this, to do this, to do this. No, that's a good manager. But a leader works with people, somebody who is willing to share his passion with people, because we're humans. We're very instinctively, a lot of us want to be in groups. We want to be, in tribes, right? We want to experience life together. And which is why having a similar shared passion can help create and create and reach a vision, which is what leaders are for. Leaders need to push that vision and show that people will have the passion to reach that vision. Now, 2 leadership skills that I have not included here. Best leaders are willing to do any position in communities. Yes. You have to be able to put yourself, you have to put yourself in people's shoes. You have to understand that, as a leader, you have to be able to walk around in someone's shoes. Great comment. I appreciate these comments, by the way, because they help me reiterate certain topics. But I would like to say patience and boldness. These are 2 leadership skills that I guess people need to understand. Patience is tough. It means you have to slow down, even when you think you do something or you can better yourself, right? You have to be quick, right? People have this mindset that they have to constantly be going. But patience means allowing space for growth, space for others to learn. It can be hard because, deadlines can be tight, at work. But here's the nuance, right? We cannot let patience basically mean passivity. A great leader knows when to act bold, right? Sometimes leadership requires stepping in, making a hard call, moving forward. But the key is balance. Too much patience and you risk stagnation. I believe Abraham Lincoln said the quote, too much patience and you'll risk falling behind. Too much boldness and you can risk alienating others. Something along those lines, but it was Abraham Lincoln. You have to know that great leaders are great communicators. You have to be able to explain the why. to people. Why are we doing this? You have to be able to teach them. You have to be able to help others understand the reasoning behind decisions. So that's why when it comes to patience and boldness, leadership is just about as much about timing as it is about action. Being able to know that timing of something rather than when to take action. Perseverance and not to give up aims towards forward moving. Yes, precisely. Which is why I kind of want to talk more in the next slide about the future of leadership. We're noticing that in the future, we're going to have a lot more people-oriented leadership. So this is a tale as old as time. I've mentioned this from the times of Genghis Khan all the way to now. We are people-oriented leaders, right? We have to be able to come as a collective and, I guess, bring each other to the top together, which is why I use these pictures, because leadership is not like a, pointing down thing where you're telling someone to do something. It's a mutual effort where everyone's helping themselves climb to the very top. Now, a big part too is the digital age, right? The leadership is greatly changing with the leadership of the digital age. And what we're seeing right now is that we're essentially going to witness a shift in how leaders connect people. In my personal opinion, with the digital age, when it comes to connecting people, our Zoom, for example, Teams and everything should be used as a support, not as a replacement for human communication, right? Humans need communication. They need to talk. And that's why when it comes to leadership in the digital age, it is important that we don't lean too heavy on, I guess, artificial intelligence and leaning too heavy on, I guess, different third parties to replace that human experience. Kind of like how we witness with HR, right? Within departments, within a company. When you reach out to somebody and they say, oh yeah, HR is going to be a AI robot, right? While that can be good for finding where to go, it should not replace the affirmity of speaking to another human being, right? Which is why as leaders, we need to understand that we need to lead people to I guess, grow in the world and not grow digitally, if that makes sense. Let me reiterate on that. Leaders have to understand that we can use the digital age to our advantage to connect us, to help make it more easy to keep, I guess, replace paper, right? To have Tableau and SAP ERPs as tools, but not to displace. Exactly. Humans need to understand that the digital age is a tool, something for us to help others gain knowledge, like online chat rooms or even articles and whatnot. Those are good ways to learn, but they should not replace people. But unfortunately, the future trends of leadership, the leadership wants people to shift more towards, I guess, AI, which is something I'm not very knowledgeable in, so I'm going to leave that for a Q&A, possibly. Now, sustainability and inclusivity. A very big factor in leadership is sustainability, which means creating a process that can, I guess, exist forever, right? Timeless. A big example of this is within supply chain. A big part of our Lean Six Sigma and Six Sigma certifications is waste management and waste reduction, right? Being able to create a process as efficient as possible that allows it to function forever, right? We have to be able to, as leaders, know what it comes in part with that vision. We have to know what vision we want. We have to build a process that can continuously reach that vision through sustainability. It's kind of like when you throw money into a 401k, right? Or a Roth IRA. You are investing in the future. And it is important as a leader to understand that the future generations of people need to have a similar vision as well. So, inclusivity. this is very important because inclusivity brings together people, right? We need more inclusion, we need more diversity in our leadership going forward because different people from different cultures bring different understandings, right? Different upbringings. As somebody who was from, a Russian family, I had experience with a different experience growing up than somebody who might have grown up in a different culture. So, since we're on a little bit of a time crunch, I will say different points of view. Exactly. Adaptive and agile. You have to be adaptive and agile in the future leadership. Kind of already went over this, but these are important because you also have to do continuous learning. There's a very big term in supply chain called Kaizen, which is the art of continuous improvement. It's a Japanese term, and it's created companies like Toyota, who started off small and now they're huge because they followed this idea of continuous learning. You have to continuously better yourself. And it's important that we as leaders understand this topic, that we are always learning. We need to always be the follower and the listener. So with that being said, I think that should be the last slide. The next slide should be a conclusion. So once again, thank you for having me. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope I was able to, share a little bit about what we need to know as leaders and even what opportunities you have at Cal State Fullerton and within AOSCM, and kind of just, there's a ton of people like me that want to help others. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email and go visit our website and look at everything we have to offer. And I'd be more than happy to help out anybody with any questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate that. Really appreciate it. And thank you, students, for those that were sharing all their information and questions to the chat. That was wonderful. It's always good to have collaboration and going back and forth. At this time, we're not going to have any time to go over the questions and answers like we normally would because we only have about 9 minutes, and we want to make sure that Professor Valdez has an opportunity to share his information. So I apologize. Q&A portion of this event, and we're going on to just share about the social media marketing program. The program consists of 4 classes, BUSS 33, 34, 36, and 50. It's a wonderful program that's very attentive to the needs of marketing in today's society. And I think it's a good time for students to be able to kind of participate in some live events through the social media marketing 34 course. So right now we have Professor Cons teaching it. In the future, we'll be having Professor Laura Phelps Tracy going to be teaching it as well. Please feel free to sign up for the class. Next, we're going to have our special guest, Professor Stephen Valdez, share a little bit about the accounting conference coming up and let you get all the details for you to sign up. Thank you. Professor Valdez?
Yes, can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me?
All good, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you, Derek, and thank you, Daniel, for a wonderful presentation on leadership. I really appreciate everything. Everything you said is spot on. So thank you, everyone who attended today's session. Thank you for taking the time out. Really quickly, I just want to give a quick plug to our upcoming accounting conference. It's going to happen this November 15th from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. in our Student Summit Center. And I know that a lot of us maybe are business majors. I know a lot of us maybe aren't necessarily accounting majors, but this is a terrific flagship event that our accounting and management department works together on in regards to promoting accounting, promoting business. So we're going to have a lot of variety of speakers. We're going to have a power lunch. We're going to have a speed network and mentoring. We're going to have a representative from the California Board of Accountancy. We're also going to have a lot of seasoned accounting professionals from Cal CPA to answer your questions and provide just a lot of just good professional experience. So if you like Daniel's presentation today, focusing on leadership and focusing on these intangible aspects, these soft skills, I highly, highly recommend that you check out our accounting conference. The event is free, lunch is provided, and there will be raffles and giveaways. And so here you see here just the website for that. If anybody has any additional questions or anything, I'm going to put my email in the chat so that you guys can reach out to me, and we'd love to see you guys again. So thank you again, Derek, and thank you, Daniel.
Hey, Professor Valdez, could you just share with the students, the ones that are on the call, where this is located on campus?
So this is at the brand new Summit Center. It's actually the brand new Student Union, the third floor. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see the building. Fantastic building, third floor conference room. It's the big building right in the middle of the campus. So that's where we're going to have our conference at.
And Professor Valdez, can you share a little bit about the agenda per se of an accounting conference? Because all business students are welcome, but can you a little bit about the agenda, please?
So for our accounting conference, it's basically going to be more of an interactive setup as far as we'll have just presentations from our speakers to talk to the audience. So imagine Daniel's presentation, but live, almost the exact same thing.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Professor Valdez, for making the time regarding the accounting. I welcome all the students to the event. For my students, I'll be offering extra credit, and this will just be a great way to see some amazing speakers and an opportunity to get plugged in to either accounting or even business principles at all. If you want to have a small business one day, you're more than welcome. This would be a great opportunity for you. We do have a question in the chat, so maybe this is for Professor Valdez. Hold on, sir. Go ahead, Tash. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm enjoying myself today. However, I'm seeing it from my phone, and my it's been kind of spotty on what I'm hearing. So I hear a good portion, and then it kind of goes out. So I've been missing small little nuggets. For this conference, is this going to be dropped in the chat, or is that the one that's being presented right here on the screen for November 15th?
Professor Valdez, how you want to
Yeah,
jump?
so I'm talking about this is a separate event for our accounting department that's going to happen in November.
Okay. You just had cut out as well in the middle of your talking, so I'm
Thank you, Tash. What we'll do is if you have any questions, you can always email Professor Valdez. He'll put his email in there, or if you would need to reach out to my class or Mrs. Martinez, we'll be welcome to help you with how to get connected with Professor Stephen Valdez's accounting conference.
Yeah, thank you, Tash. And just to confirm, yes, you are correct. What Mr. Valdez is presenting is for the accounting conference on November 15th. So that's what's being shown on the slide. We got a thumbs up, so we're good.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I think that's going to conclude our time today. If you guys are interested, tomorrow and the next day, we're going to be also having different speakers. Today was, of course, Cal State Fullerton. Tomorrow will be Cal Poly Pomona. And then on Wednesday, it will be UCR. We're looking forward to having you all there, gain some insight, and just building our online community. It doesn't have to be necessarily in supply chain, but business. And if any of you have any questions for Professor Martinez, Professor Valdez, feel free to email us. We'd love to get in contact with you. And if there's any questions we can answer, we'd like to help. Thank you again. Let's just give us a virtual clap again for our last time for Daniel. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you, and thank you for attending.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. We hope to see you at the conference and tomorrow. And possibly, please remember to join the AFM Club or the AGS Club.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me speak, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Professor Martinez. Thank you, Professor Doctor, for letting me speak. Appreciate it.
It was our pleasure. You could come back anytime.
Thank you.
Can come back anytime.
Hey, Steve, question for you. I know there's other people on the call, that's fine. Is there any way we can drop like a QR code or something in the chat box for tomorrow for the students? Or is there
we could only post the flyer maybe?
Okay. Can we try to do that? Because I like to get that out, and I'm going to let my students, like I said, know as well.
Let me see here. There's a,
We don't have to do it today, just for tomorrow.
I think I have it here. Hold on.
Recording stopped.
All right, students, that's it for today. It was great seeing all of you on the call. Thanks for all the engagement. Really like the questions. And just write up a little paragraph, send it to me by Sunday, and everyone should be good to go. Professor Valdez did put a file in the meeting for the chat. If any of you are going to be at the accounting conference, I highly encourage you and recommend this conference. I'll be there. It's going to be outstanding with great speakers and a lot of knowledge for many of those who want to be into business or have a business one day. Thank you, Professor Valdez. Have a great day.